So the people that are new to me,
400 feet, turn back.
would know a little bit of, let me just say this. I have not watched television in 4 years.
Recalculation.
They weren't honking at me.
Drive for 1 mile.
I didn't watch TV for the last 4 years. So now ever since the COVID debacle, I've watched some television. I watched some Picard. There was a couple of seasons of that. I also watched the new Star Trek. Can't even remember the name of it. The one where the doctor and the physicist were a couple, male couple. I saw a couple of seasons of that, and not a big deal. I mean, I have my opinions on some of those shows, but for the most part, a lot of predictive programming. Wasn't too impressed with any of it. I did start to watch Westworld. Westworld has been something that I kind of wanted to get into. I had told myself, I was going to check it out, and I'm up to season 3. First season, there was a lot of sex involved. There was a lot of I didn't really think it was anything, I wasn't too impressed
The
with
next
it.
left.
And I'm actually not following the navigation. I'm just using this as a kind of a guide for some.
Prepare to make route recalculation.
Okay.
Prepare to enter the roundabout in 0.4 miles.
Yeah, I think I will follow this version of it now. Maybe not. So Westworld has become such a truth drop with the things that are being said and spoke about and talked about on the show. It's kind of like mind-blowing. And it keeps reminding me of this time in my life.
400 feet, enter the roundabout, and take the second exit.
I'm just out of the pizzeria business, right? I sold my pizzeria, and
take the second exit. Then turn right.
To this wall in front
Take the
of me.
next right.
I always thought that was pretty cool. It's like a dam to some degree. Take a look at it here. Okay, so let's get back into this Westworld thing. I'm sorry it's taking so long. I think we will go straight just to kind of take a look at this thing here in front of us, and we'll come around.
Recalculation. Back where possible. Then take the next left.
Well, that sign said authorized vehicles.
Route recalculation.
Okay, relax.
Turn back where possible. Then take the next left. Route recalculation. Turn back where possible. Recalculation.
I'm gonna have to just turn this off
Turn back where possible.
because this thing is freaking out. Okay. It's a huge dam. You know, when you think of New York, you're not thinking of dams, but they're here. So if you've seen the Westworld, we all know about Dolores. Dolores is this. Wait a minute, it's telling me I can only go this way. I can't turn that way. Double divide line. Okay, I could go this way. If we know anything about the Westworld, there's this Dolores character. And this Dolores character basically wakes up from, or is able to remember past lives. And it comes across as a dream. And as we find out more and more about this character, I mean, like, one of the owners to the Westworld itself became so obsessed with this one woman and her character. And he fell in love with her character and would do the most horrific things to her. It was like, and I found it to be so interesting because her posture was so perfect. Her back is just always so absolutely perfect. No slouching in her back. The way she walks in heels, it's so perfect. It's almost unreal. It's almost too perfect that it can't be human. So we have this Westworld woman character who is a white woman with blonde hair and what I perceive to be irresistible to men, especially white men, would probably look at her, see her, and say that she's a 10. And not only is she a 10, I would like to wife this woman. I would like to marry this woman. I would like to, obsess over this woman and put me in a situation where she's not real, then I can do horrific things to this woman. So this woman was this character in a role where she was playing this role for these men to come and do horrific things to her by way of like some sort of theme park-esque situation. And she wakes up from that. She wakes up from that. What they would do is, once whatever happened to her, they want to reload her program, they would repair her body and they would just wipe her memories. And at some point, 30 years of this abuse this woman has gone through, very, very traumatic, horrific things, horrific things you can't even imagine that the human being would do to something that they are so obsessed with. It's like, it's so much of a truth drop in that aspect, where it shows how when you get everything that you want and everything that you wish you had, how you take it and you destroy it, and you find pleasure and joy in the destruction of what you really truly want, or what you really truly lust after and love after. Like, just imagine, back in the days, they say that the Nazis used to have the soldiers taking care of a dog during the basic training, and then at the end of basic training they would tell them to shoot the dog in the head. And that was able to change the mind and the human being into this surplus killing style machine by taking what you love and destroying it. Very Illuminati-esque. We always hear about these death rituals that happen, and it happens to the people that you love the most and the people that you're closest to. It's some sort of way in to these situations, to these environments. So Westworld taps into all those little nuances of truth dropping, and what they do is they camouflage the truth dropping in the first season with just sex. It was absolutely ridiculous. But this road is so beautiful. You don't want to look at me. Look at this road. So the first and second seasons, yes, there were truth drops, but nothing like this third season. At least nothing that I found as profound as when. Well, let me just say this. I preface all of this to say that one day after selling the pizzeria, I was driving in a I can't even remember the year, but it was when I had the vehicle for about a year and a half, and it was the XC90. And this XC90 actually was one of the best vehicles I ever driven. I mean, I was able to turn, because the XC90 has this thing where you're not just turning left and right, you're actually, you're turning, like I think the new MDX has that, the new MDX Acura, where you're not just turning the wheels left and right, they actually have something called camber, where the wheels, they'll turn left and they'll turn right, but they also have some camber in it, so you can hit the corners. And the way they had the engine bay was so rigid. I mean, that XC90 was such an amazing vehicle, and it was so luxurious. The leather inside was so nice. It was so nice, and we really, really enjoyed it. But it was 14 years old. And I remember that. I remember thinking, I'm over here driving a 14-year-old car, and the only time and one time I bought a new car was when I was 24. It was like 24, 25, 25. Can't really remember, but it was in 2001. And I bought a Subaru Outback, a limited with the two sunroofs, and I really, really enjoy that car. I was researching boxer engines at the time, and I thought, this is so cool, all-wheel drive, boxer engine, ah, 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 and, excuse me. And the whole time I was thinking, well, just one particular day, I'm driving, and I'm loving the vehicle. It's a great car, XC90, turns like a damn sports car, or at least a car. No, just an amazing vehicle. But it was 14 years old, and I had to come to the realization at that time that no matter how much I try, and which I've tried many times, I can never save but so much money. I always felt like there was this ceiling over my head, or I just kept hitting the ceiling. Boom, boom, boom. Never was able to save but so much money. Something would always come up. Something would break. Somebody was in trouble. There was always something came up. I could never get out of this hole that I was in. And most people will look at me and think that this dude is not in a hole. He's doing very, very well. He has a business, blah, blah, blah. He got a family. Look at them. They look so happy. But, the truth is, at that time, I wasn't very, very happy. I was very, very, very stressed. I was afraid that I had failed with my family. I failed once again. To, I had failed as a person, as a man. I'm in this car. It's 14 years old. And the car breaks down, by the way. And we just wound up, we had to pay the dealership we paid the dealership like $6,000 to fix it. Then I went to another place and spent like another 2 or 3 grand to fix it. These cars are forced obsolete cars. They have these little rubbers inside where and they'll just degrade. Whether you drive the car 150,000 miles or you just let it sit in a warehouse. So it's like difficult to keep cars nowadays. Like you can't even have one, like you're just gonna hold on for one sec. I'm on live. Talk to me. Uh-huh. No, I don't know how you took your ankle, Cody. Can you tell me what you hurt? Can you just get to that part? Did you break something? Did you break your hand? Is your hand sprained or broken? You cannot move it. Is it swollen? Did they put ice on it? Who said it's very swollen? You say or somebody else said? Sounds like you got a broke. Is it black and blue? Is the color of the wrist? Is the wrist turning color? Can you move your fingers? But your wrist, you can't move your wrist. And you got it on ice. Is there anybody there with a bucket of ice where they can put a they can put you can put your you can, no the packs ain't gonna work. You gotta put one pack on top and one pack on the bottom. You can't put one pack on one side of the wrist. So we talking about. I need you to ask. Let me talk to the lady. No, 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 no. Don't be going. Stay where you're at. Stay where you're at. Yeah, he can't. He says wrist can't move. Kid stepped on the wrist, hand on the wrist. Sounds like a bad sprain. I don't think it's broken, but I'll head over there now. I'm gonna go there now. I'm heading to the school now. Get you first? Why would I do that? Why would I do that? I'm not gonna get you first. You're a half an hour away. I'm a half an hour away from him and a half an hour away from you. I'd rather go spend that half an hour towards them. I'll worry about you later. I'll get both the kids out of the school. I mean, if I need to see what's going on. Like, what is their professional opinion of this script? Yeah. Wait. He just hung up the phone? Oh. Yeah, and I'll let you know if I'm going to head to Harlem Hospital. Let you know if there's gonna, if you need the cash or something like that. Yeah, he's a boy, man. This is what boys do, man. Boys, you know. All right, I'm on Central Avenue, heading towards 87. I'm gonna jump on 87 and jump down there, and I'll let you know. You might have to we'll figure it out. Figure it out. All right. You still there? Westworld. I hope he's gonna be okay, which I think he is. He's not there crying. He's not hysterical. My son is a tough kid. He can handle a lot of falls. Most people can't, but he's saying he can't move the wrist, and it's very swollen. Somebody's gonna be in the sling for a couple of weeks. Anyway, so I started to feel not like a loser or anything like that. I didn't feel like I felt great that I can take care of my family. I'm making the same weekly pay that will be able to sustain my lifestyle, and I'll never get out of this. This is my life. This is it for me. I'm never, and I've tried so many times. We're talking about my first business was when I was 21. That's not even true. I had a bunch of little things when I was a kid, selling stuffed animals. I used to sell batteries outside of Macy's when I was a kid. And I remember the cops would come and then they would take everyone's stuff and give them all tickets, and the cops would be like, "Come on, kids, get out of here, get out of here, get out of here. You're not supposed to be out here selling stuff." And we used to be like, "Yeah." And it's been a lot of failure in my life with business. A lot of and let me just say this: I have been, what's the word, meticulous in my way of dealing with a business, as far as writing everything down and dealing with like trying to build a team. Like I was trying to build a team of, like, so that I can open up restaurants, and I spent like 15 years of my life building this, not infrastructure, but building, like, putting people together and trying to move forward, and it never worked. And it just seemed like I look at my team that I have that can help me, that like everybody got old. My computer guy, he just recently died. The guy that would build the website, the guy that would do this, that, and the other. Then I got a contractor. He has his family. He has a lot going on, and I got my head chef and menu kind of a guy, and he has all this. He's like in his 60s now or something. I don't know. I mean, let me just say that's like current, what's going on. But back 4 years ago, when I was dealing with those thoughts and having that stress about driving that vehicle and coming to the realization that I'll never be out of a vehicle that's not, between 10 and 15, 16, 17 years old. And I would never have a vehicle that I would be the first owner. I would be not even the second or the third. I'll be the sixth owner. And that really bothered me. That really stressed me out. And it didn't leave me depressed or anything, because this is post Mandela effect, where when I did suffer from being sad and being depressed, I no longer go through that because of the Mandela effect, and it's opened my life and my mind up to that. But this was another feeling. This was a feeling of, I didn't feel any contempt. Like, I didn't feel like happy that I'm doing well and this is where I'm at and it's not a big deal. And mind you, don't get me wrong, I could have leased a vehicle and looked like I had money. But I'm smart enough to know that if I can't afford it, I can't afford it. I'm smart enough to know that if I can't afford a $1,000 phone, leasing it still means I can't afford it. I'm smart enough to know that, if I cannot pay for this vehicle, then leasing it or financing it still proves that. So I could have made myself feel better and just gotten a vehicle that was way too expensive and stressed out about paying the monthly. There would have been ways I could have masked those feelings, but it's deeper than that. It's all part of that, because even had I got in the car that I would have been approved for, let's say, I don't know, like the newest whatever it was, or maybe just 2 years, 3 years old, someone is out of their lease, I'm the second owner, really truly I'm only the second driver of a car that's owned by a bank. I don't know. I was unsettled and unhappy with the realization that I'm never going to get out of this. And I'm watching Westworld, and this woman Dolores decides to take on the help or the aid of some young man who, when she was shot, came to her aid. And the people that are after Dolores came after him because they wanted to know what was up with with that situation. They were like, So now I'm sorry, I got a little distracted by the massive amounts of cars that are just like stopping for no reason. And so she's recruiting this guy. Well, she didn't really recruit him. It was more happenstance, but she liked him. She feels like I can utilize this human being, this person. So what she does is she takes him over to a diner. And in this diner, she orders a milkshake and a double cheeseburger, and she says, nothing for me. And this just so happens to be the place where this person's mother left him. This person's mother left him when he was like, 6 years old, and she never came back. And then the mom wound up having schizophrenia, and she wound up, his mother was like, maybe she killed herself, I can't really remember, but, and he became really enraged, and he's like, she's like, you're upset, and he was like, no, I'm enraged, because she actually also showed him, she opened up this cool, like, menu style, looked like a Chinese menu, but it's a tablet, and she opened that up, and then she showed him the transcripts of their actual conversation that was had there. So not only was this so far in his past, let's say this is a person who's in their 30s, this man. He's in his 30s. He's also the same guy who played in the show Breaking Bad. I can't remember his name at the moment. So we have this guy who's being told by this woman that I know everything about you, and it's all full of data. And he's like, they didn't show him eat or anything like that. They head over, she's like, come take a walk with me. And she takes him onto this pier, a pier that he was familiar with. And they're walking along the pier, and he's like, why you brought me here? And she said, because this is the place that you kill yourself 10 to 12 years from now. And she's like, he's like, how could you have known that? She's like, all these algorithms have basically said this is around the time you're going to be doing what you're going to do to yourself, right here. And I was looking at this show, and I was like, whoa. And then he says, yeah, I know that they're watching me. I know that they're, like everyone accepts the fact, like I just saw something recently with the iPhone, every second is taking a picture of you through thermal, what's the word? They used a thermal camera, a heat-seeking camera, and they put it on record, and it was able to capture every time the flash went off. And the iPhone is constantly taking, and even when you turn your iPhone off, it's still sending data out to the servers. It's collecting massive information. It's collecting all your conversations. It's collecting all of your information, everything you think of, all the porn you watch when you first wake up in the morning, and knows what kind of freak you are, and knows all these different things. And he's like basically saying, yo, dude, I know this is what's happening. I know this is what I know they're watching me. I know they're collecting data. And then she said something that was so different. She says to him, she says, there was a time where a guy like you could make it. There was a time where a guy like you, she said, but those times are over. What you don't know is, yeah, they're watching you, Yeah, they're recording you. Yeah, they're looking at all your information. And when I say there or they, I'm basically talking about the algorithm. So we have this algorithm that is listening to all of us, and now we're all accepting it. We're all accepting that Alexa and Siri and all these devices around us are recording everything we say, everything we do. We all get that. Okay? But here's the part that we don't get. That the algorithm has chosen you to fail. The algorithm is taking everything from your life and deemed you unfit for success, unready, unavailable. It's not having it. So no matter how hard you push yourself, no matter how hard you bust your ass to make it in this world, there's that ceiling. That ceiling is there. And the ceiling is there on purpose. We have a ceiling over our heads that's being controlled possibly by some sort of freaking AI that's been around for the last 40, 50 years, 60 years, maybe from the beginning of this reality. And it is choosing the winners and the losers. And a lot of people obviously have found this out and have figured this out and have figured out a way to beat the system. I would always say, you got to write everything down. This whole thing about words or spells and make things come true. Have that dream board. Put that dream board up and let it, do all that stuff. But as this project that I'm working on, this bakery, I'm opening up a bakery. And this is the first business that I have not written anything down. There's a part of me that feels like I've written so much stuff down for so many other businesses, and I failed every time. I mean, I knew how much every bag of flour, how much every block of cheese, how much every can of sauce, how much every plate in this thing is going to take for me to get, because my goal was always $2,700 and $2,740 a day. That was my goal, and that'll be $1 million a year business. And no matter what I did, I could never make that 2740. I could never make that $1 million a year business. It always was a job. It always was never really a business. It was always a freaking job. It never was a business, and I freaking hated it. So now with this new bakery that I'm opening, I've been putting everything in place. I've been moving in the right direction. I've been making the right calls. I've been checking on the work that's being done and the necessary aspects of it. I have been now studying its YouTube tutorials on certain websites and things that I need to be moving in that direction, and because I want to collect massive data from the people that are utilizing the bakery. I want to be able to, follow the Instagram. I want them to be able to go to the Facebook. I want them to be able to pay digitally. All these different things I do, and I haven't written anything down. And looking at this Westworld, it's like, could the notion of writing it down be some sort of ruse? And the ruse is that go ahead and write it down so you can tell us exactly what you want, and then we will decide whether or not to let you in. That's what it feels like. There's a part of me that's afraid to write it down, because I've always pushed, write it down. Write down what you want. Write down your dreams, and they will come true. Because if you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. That's what I've been promoting and pushing for so long. But now I'm extremely reserved with who I even discuss this bakery with. there are certain parts of me that thinks about that Westworld scene when she's like that. You will be on that pier blowing your brains out, bro, because you were allotted to fail. You were allotted not to make it. You were allotted for failure. That's your life. Your life is failure. And it really had an effect on me watching this show and watching how, and then that was what it took for him to join her. To hear those words is what it took for him to join her, for him to say, you know what, I want to live. If I'm going to die already, let it be because I make the choice, not because an algorithm has chosen for me to fail. And I really, and you have to understand that in order to commit suicide on a pier, you have to pull the trigger. You have to be the one that pulls the trigger. So, is it choice? If you've been led, is it? It's choice being masked by this. Oh, shucks. This thing is going to get loud. You know, is it choice? I don't know. I don't know what just happened. So, we're back. And I really, you know, I really was like, wow, like it really spoke to me, that scene. It truly did. This used to be a Longhorn Steakhouse that they turned into some sort of place to drop off dirt. Big mountains of it. The Longhorn Steakhouse is gone. It was closed for years. Oh, maybe they're building a big high-rise over here. It says available, will build. Oh yeah, this is just a place to put rocks. Yeah, they got a bunch of gravel there. But if anyone has seen this Westworld, this was season 3, the recruiting of this guy. That, oh man, let me just tell you. You are appreciated for watching. Been on here for a while. I'm gonna go check on my son and his wrist. Hopefully, it's not too bad. But whatever the situation is, this is part of life, you know. Getting hurt, playing basketball, thinking you can jump as high as you can jump and landing on your wrist. It's not gonna be good, you know. He'll learn from this. He will be fine. He will recover. I'll keep you updated. You are appreciated. Boom.